This is when Gen X ruled the multiplex, the films that shaped the MTV generation. Today I'm looking at Fame, the 1980 ensemble drama about the lives and struggles of students at the High School of Performing Arts, which was and is a real-life public school in Midtown Manhattan. Fame was directed by Sir Alan Parker, who directed many films, including 1982's Pink Floyd The Wall, which I've already looked at here. The screenplay to Fame was written by playwright Christopher Gore. A critical and commercial success, Fame won 2 Oscars for Best Original Score and Best Original Song for the title track. It spawned a fondly remembered TV series, which featured characters from the film played by their original actors, characters from the film played by recast actors, and brand new characters. The film also spawned an off-Broadway musical, a reality series, and a 2009 remake. More than that, though, it spawned an entire subgenre. Before there was American Idol, before there was Glee, before there was High School Musical, before films and television shows and reality shows about teenagers looking for their big break into the world of showbiz became a mainstream part of the pop culture landscape, there was Fame. We open at the High School of Performing Arts, where prospective students audition for placement in the drama, dance, and music departments. We meet the wide array of students and teachers we will follow throughout the film. At his drama audition, Montgomery, who is very quiet and serious about his work, nervously recites a monologue. Montgomery is played by Paul McCrane, whom we have already seen in RoboCop. Doris chooses to sing a song for her audition for the drama department, which is kind of a weird move. She sings Marvin Hamlish's The Way We Were, while her overprotective stage mom hovers nearby. Doris isn't much of a singer, but as soon as she stops singing and just speaks the lyrics, she becomes a much more interesting performer. Doris is played by Maureen Teefey, whom we just saw a couple weeks back playing Lucy Lane in Supergirl. The drama teacher supervising the auditions, Mr. Farrell, is played by Jim Moody, who was a real-life drama teacher at the High School of Performing Arts, and whom we have seen playing Daddy Green in The Last Dragon. A wisecracking kid from the South Bronx who goes by Ralph Garcia instead of by his birth name, Raul Garcia, floats around auditioning for the dance and music departments and receives a lukewarm reception in both. A chronic liar and general loudmouth, Ralph finally auditions for the drama department, where his abrasive personality is seen as an asset. Ralph is played by Saturday Night Fever's Barry Miller. Also auditioning for the drama department is a student played by Isaac Mizrahi, who was an actual student at the High School of Performing Arts at the time, and who quit acting after his appearance in Fame and became a globally famous fashion designer. Over in the dance studio, auditions are overseen by a panel of teachers, including Miss Berg, played by Joanna Merlin, and Lydia Grant, played by Debbie Allen. This is the only scene in the entire film in which Debbie Allen will appear, which will come as a very big surprise to those viewers who are more familiar with the 1982-1987 TV series Fame, which featured Debbie Allen's Miss Grant as a very central and iconic character. Prospective dancers include triple threat Coco, who is also auditioning for the music and drama departments, and who is confident, skilled, and professional. Coco is played by Irene Cara, who would have a smash hit with this film's theme song. She'd follow it up in 1982 with another smash hit, the title track to the film Flashdance, which I've already looked at here. A dancer named Shirley auditions with the help of her friend Leroy, and they do a sexually charged routine to Red Light, sung by Linda Clifford. While Shirley's dancing is unimpressive, the judges are wowed by Leroy, who possesses the full package of charisma and talent. Leroy is played by Harlem-born dancer Jean Anthony Ray, who'd been a student at the High School of Performing Arts, though he was expelled for hitting a teacher. He'd go on to star in the TV series Fame, but would die tragically young of a stroke in 2003 at age 41. Featured dancers in Fame include another then-current student at the High School of Performing Arts, Michael DiLorenzo, who would go on to star in the Fox series New York Undercover. Also, actress Meg Tilly is one of the dancers, but I've never been able to spot her. The music auditions are led by the earthy and avuncular Mr. Swarovski, played by Albert Hague, who would reprise this role on the TV series. A composer and songwriter, Albert Hague wrote several Broadway musicals early in his long career, and also composed the score to the 1966 classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So the next time you find yourself humming the infectious holiday ditty You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, you can thank Fame's Mr. Swarovski. Notable among those auditioning for the music department is the supremely gifted Bruno Martelli, who arrives in a taxi loaded down with synthesizers driven by his very proud father. Bruno is played by musician and songwriter Lee Cureri, who, along with Debbie Allen, Jean Anthony Ray, and Albert Hague, would carry this character over to the TV series. Bruno is crazy talented, though he confounds Mr. Swarovski with the sheer number of synthesizers he whips out for his audition. Freshman year begins. Dogs in in the Yard, sung by Paul McCrane, plays as the accepted students all arrive at school, converging from various parts around New York City. We meet the English teacher, Mrs. Sherwood, who is played by the late comedian Ann Mira, who, along with her husband Jerry Stiller, was part of the comedy team Stiller and Mira. Their son is actor-director Ben Stiller. Sherwood is quick to point out that in addition to their music, dance, and drama classes, students at the High School of Performing Arts have a full slate of traditional academic classes which they are required to pass. All the teachers emphasize to the students that this will be a tough program, requiring long hours, hard work, and lots of rejection. In the lunchroom, the students indulge in a big impromptu jam session called Hot Lunch Jam. The original title of Fame was Hot Lunch, but it turns out there was a recent porn film with that name, so the title was changed. Doris and Montgomery are too shy to participate in the lunchtime hijinks, so they bond over their mutual awkwardness while eating lunch on the stairs. As the school year proceeds, we explore the various problems and insecurities of the students. Leroy, who clashes constantly with Mrs. Sherwood, is illiterate. Ralph is super obnoxious. Coco, who is singularly driven to succeed, wants to form a strategic alliance with musical wunderkind Bruno, but Bruno dislikes performing his music for other people. Doris worries she's too ordinary to be an actor. A dancer named Lisa, played by Laura Dean, is unmotivated. At the end of the school year, Doris bids farewell to a graduating student named Michael, played by Boyd Gaines, on whom she has had a long-standing unrequited crush and who is moving to Los Angeles to try his luck in Hollywood. Sophomore year, a new student joins the school, a beautiful and wealthy dancer named Hilary Van Doren, who immediately begins a love triangle with Coco for the affections of Leroy. Hilary is played by New York City ballet star Antonia Franceschi. Montgomery reveals to his best friend Doris and then to the rest of the drama department that he's gay. Everyone takes this news in stride, except for Ralph, who never passes up the opportunity to be a total dick. Mrs. Berg kicks Lisa out of the dance department due to her lack of dedication. A distraught Lisa contemplates throwing herself in front of a subway train and then decides, she'll switch to the drama department instead. Bruno's dad tries to bring attention to his son's music by parking his cab outside the school and blasting a song written by Bruno and sung by Coco, which turns out to be the very famous Fame title track. This song, which was written by Michael Gore along with Dean Pitchford, the future screenwriter of Footloose, rose to the top of the charts worldwide and has become an enduring classic. All of the students swarm out of the school and create a mob scene, singing and dancing on cars and causing an enormous midtown traffic jam. Junior year, while rehearsing a scene in Montgomery's apartment, Doris and Ralph fall in love, which is weird because Ralph has never acted like anything less than an abrasive creep to Doris. Leroy and Hilary also start dating. Coco and Bruno continue to work together and they collaborate on a song titled Out Here on My Own, which was co-written by Michael Gore and his sister, former teen idol Leslie Gore, who had a big streak of hits in the 60s, including Sunshine, Lollipops, and Rainbows, You Don't Own Me, and It's My Party. After Ralph's kid sister is raped by a stranger, Ralph blows up at his mother for taking her to a church instead of to a doctor. He later breaks down in tears as he tells Doris and Montgomery all about his abusive childhood, and it's clear he uses abrasive humor as a defense mechanism. Ralph gets Doris stoned at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Doris joins the floor show and loses her inhibitions, which leads to an epiphany about how being an actor gives her permission to try on various personalities. At a restaurant, Doris, Ralph, and Montgomery are waited on by their former classmate Michael, who did not find success in Hollywood. As Ralph and Doris get closer, an increasingly isolated Montgomery sings Is It Okay to Call You Mine sadly to himself. This is a song Paul McCrane wrote and performed at his audition, and the filmmakers worked it into the film. Senior year rolls around. Ralph performs at the Catch a Rising Star Comedy Club, where the club's MC, comedian and future Law & Order SVU star Richard Belzer, introduces him to the audience. Ralph wins over the crowd with his tales of life in the South Bronx and receives future invitations to perform. Hilary is offered a position with the San Francisco Ballet, which she has decided to accept. First, though, she has an abortion. Coco is approached in a diner by a director, Francois Lefette, played by Steve Inwood, who wants to make her a star. He invites her to his apartment for a screen test and intimidates her into taking her clothes off on camera. Even though Coco is streetwise and savvy, her desire for fame is strong enough that she goes along with this against her better judgment. She sobs on film as she realizes she's fallen for a very nasty scam. Leroy is failing Mrs. Sherwood's class, which means he will not graduate, which means he'll be forced to turn down a position with the prestigious Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. Irate, he storms to the hospital where Mrs. Sherwood is visiting her sick husband. Upon realizing her husband is gravely ill, he puts aside his own feelings to comfort her. Ralph takes too many drugs and becomes even more of an abrasive dickhead. At the Catch a Rising Star Club, he yells at Montgomery and berates Doris before utterly bombing on stage. Afterward, Montgomery visits him backstage and forgives him for being such a tool. Graduation arrives. At the ceremony, the entire student body performs I Sing the Body Electric, written by Michael Gore and Dean Pitchford, in a joyous culmination of everything they've learned over the past 4 years. The New York City of Fame, circa 1980, is the New York of trash can fires, and graffiti-filled subway cars, and sex workers working the sidewalk, and rapists, and skeezy dudes trying to lure teens into pornography. And yet it's also a city of unlimited possibilities. And that makes it a perfect setting for a film about trudging along on the pathway to fame, which is often dark and dirty and unsatisfying, and yet at the same time very appealing. In the years since Fame's release, we've had a deluge of films and TV shows about teenagers striving for stardom, but after more than 40 years, Fame still seems very fresh. If your main point of reference for Fame is the good-natured and entertaining TV series, which I dearly loved, the film might come as a surprise. Not just because it features profanity and boobs, but because of how dark and serious it gets. Fame is grounded in gritty reality almost to the point of cynicism. While that iconic theme song has come to symbolize youthful idealism and optimism about the future, there's a strong current of irony in it. Although the singer, in this case Irene Cara's Coco, is confident everyone will remember her name, we know the odds are against it. The film doesn't end with any of the students achieving anything close to fame. Some are on a good path. The school has positioned them well to enter careers that might someday lead to success. But by the end of the film, no one is famous yet, and the film makes sure we know that as talented and as driven as they all are, they might never reach the big time. And that's okay. They're doing what they love, and they've learned to take their craft seriously. And by graduation, each of the students from the High School of Performing Arts that we've followed throughout the film has undergone significant growth. When I was a Gen X kid in the 80s, I thought Fame was a film about the quest for stardom. Watching it now as a Gen Xer rapidly closing in on 50, it's clear that it's a film about leaving your childhood behind and figuring out who you are as an adult. Next time, I'm looking at the 1985 murder mystery comedy Clue. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope I'll see you then.